Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. And check out that eye, that's exactly what we want to see. Woo, look at that panel, baby. And that, as they say, is that. How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I wanted to do something a little bit different. Today I wanted to talk about 5 spooky, scary, horror collected editions releases that came out in the month of October of 2025. So we're going to be talking about 5 of those books. Let's find out what they are together. Welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to our patrons for making videos like this possible. I know the month of October is over, has come and gone, but if you're like me, you love horror comics or you love spooky comics. And I did 5 hidden gems this month. We did the horror evergreen. That was amazing. It was a lot of fun. But today I wanted to take time to talk about 5 current releases that came out in the month of October of 2025. And I think, you know, if you are into the horror scene, I think these 5 were probably my favorite releases. And I would love to know what yours are, whether it's things like the Tomb of Dracula Marvel Masterworks, or the Gantz G Omnibus, or things like the Ghost Rider Omnibus. But these are my top 5. Leave yours down in the comment down below if you're into horror or spooky comics. And also, this is not a countdown. It's just giving you my top 5. Let's look at the first one. Hyde Street, Volume 1, by Jeff Johns, Ivan Hayes, published by Image Comics, and also this is the group Ghost Machine that puts these books together. This one came as a surprise because I'm so used to Jeff Johns doing superhero stuff, and I should have known because of his Blackest Night story and some of his JSA stories that he can tell some horrific tales. This is all about the street, Hyde Street, and the residents of Hyde Street. Hyde Street, this particular street has a very supernatural feel to it. And it's in every city, in every town, every country road leads into Hyde Street. And the residents of Hyde Street are people like Pranky, who is the world's most dangerous scout. There's also Mr. X-Ray. There is also Miss Goodbody, Dr. Ego, and a couple of other characters. But what they do is they drag people's whole, like their entire souls into damnation. And they are keeping score, or someone is keeping score, the character known as the Scorekeeper. Go figure. But it might be limbo, it might be hell, it might be something else, another dimension, where there's this game between these characters, these spooky characters that at one time were alive, whether they died in the 60s and the 50s, something dragged them to Hyde Street, and their talents makes them kind of like a guide to eternal damnation. But it is a really interesting and spooky read, and not to be missed, with amazing artwork in here from Ivan Hayes. So again, that is Hyde Street. The first volume is $14.99 and published by Image Comics. The Complete Harrow County Compendium by Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook, published by Dark Horse Comics. This is a thick one. This is big, but this is the Complete Harrow County. And I've done an overview of this. I've talked about Harrow County on my channels many times over the years. I've interviewed Cullen Bunn. It's one of my favorite stories. I've interviewed Tyler Crook just recently. But I just love sharing these magnificent, creepy stories with people. And this one hits all the right notes for me. And all of it is available here. This is the story of Emmy, and taking place in the South. Also, it's kind of like a southern, eerie, gothic fairy tale is, I think, the best way to describe it. It's how she is becoming aware that she has supernatural powers on her 18th birthday. And she could be the reincarnation of a witch that was killed in Harrow County many years before she was born. And with the help of Bernice and even some of the haints that live around her, such as the Skinless Boy, she's on a journey to find out exactly who she is and what her role in this game is going to be. It goes into territories I didn't think it was going to go into. There's twists and turns in here, and just don't know who to trust exactly. Plus, it's got some really creepy imagery with these beautiful watercolors by Tyler Crook. All of this book, all 1,080 pages, is $59.99. There are hardcovers available. Now, the only thing that this does not collect is the Tales of Harrow County miniseries, which is the stories by about Bernice. But this has everything of the main stories. And believe me, you'll want to check out Tales of, from Harrow County once you finish reading this masterpiece. Moan, Junji Ito story collection hardcover from Viz Media. This is, of course, all by Junji Ito, the master of horror. And I love that we've gotten to the point that just about every year we get 1 or 2 books of Junji Ito stories. This is an anthology, which is my favorite type of horror comic. We've seen it in the past with his different collections over the years, and this is his latest one. However, this isn't the most modern stories because this is stories that take place in the 90s when he was writing these particular stories. There's a total of 6 of them. Some are longer, some are shorter, and they're all a little bit different. The main story, which is called Moan, is about this family that is just obsessed with being clean. And there's this dirty boy that's in love with the main girl. And there's also this moan noises that are coming out of the perhaps plumbing in the house that she lives in. There's, of course, a twist like there is in a lot of these particular stories. There's a teacher here that is, I don't want to say obsessed, but cares about her students a little too much. The first story in here actually kind of reminds me of the Kurosaki Court delivery service, where you have a group of high school students that all have kind of like their own little supernatural powers. It almost has like a superhero little twist to it. And then other little gross stories in there, supernatural stories, ghost stories, which I love. So if you're a fan of books like Uzumaki or Tomie or any of his other books that have been released here in America, this is definitely needed to be added to your library. I love the fact that now we have, like I said, 1 or 2 Junji Ito books coming out every freaking month, just about. And there was a time when we weren't getting any. I mean, we had Museum of Terror for a it was Museum of Horror. That's what it was called. From Dark Horse. It wasn't even like titled by Junji Ito. There were just Junji Ito stories in there. 272 pages. And $25. Frankenstein, Alive is back in print from the folks at IDW. This is by Steve Niles, Bernie Wrightson, and Kelly Jones. And the name that should be the hook for this book for you all is Bernie Wrightson. Bernie Wrightson drawing big, giant monster Frankenstein is a sight to be seen. The book is short, it's only 84 pages, and it retails for $19.99. There has been bigger printings, like a big oversized hardcover, but that is not in print yet, and that book goes for outrageous amounts of money right now. But this book right here is back in print, and if you haven't read it, it is a sequel to Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, where it takes place immediately after the book ends, and you can see what happens and what the Frankenstein monster is up to, and just how much of a human side there is to him and the people that he meets through here. Unfortunately, this is the last work by the phenomenal and legendary Bernie Wrightson. He passed away before he could finish this. And Kelly Jones, who's a phenomenal artist himself, is the one that picked up and actually picked by Bernie Wrightson before Bernie passed away to take over the book. He did the 4th and final issue that's collected in here. But if you've never seen his art, oh my gosh, the amount of detail, the hyper details that are in his artwork. It is almost surreal that one person can do that much pencils. And it is in black and white, and you can see the extras in the back that have his original art too. So again, this particular book has 84 pages, but it's 84 magnificent pages of Bernie Wrightson's art, plus Kelly Jones' art and Steve Niles' writing. And the book retails for $19.99 from IDW. EC Epitaphs from the Abyss, Volume 2, published by Oni Press. and several creators in here, such as Matt Kent, David Lapham, Cullen Bunn, Tyler Crook, Charlie Adlard, and Tim Seeley, just to name a few of the creators, because what we're looking at here is an anthology series. It's been 70 years since Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, and the Haunt of Fear came out. And this is the first EC horror line. I love the fact that we have more of this stuff. And our narrator, the guy that introduces each of the stories, is the Gravedigger. Now, the stories in here vary. They all have of course, a horror twist to them for the most part. Some of them have more of a sci-fi element to them. The first story is all about this man who, him and his wife were known for building 3D houses, and his wife disappeared. Perhaps she became a part of the house. There's a story in here about a guy that's obsessed with ghosts and maybe wanting to become a ghost, and you'll see what happens to him when he becomes obsessed with the ghost and wanting to be part of that particular world. And varying in here from witches to werewolves and vampires, serial killers, ghosts. There's just tales of the supernatural, and it's just good to see another EC book and treat it well too, because they could have just put the stamp of EC Comics in here and just let it fly, but I think they chose the right amount of people to come in here and produce these particular stories. You don't need to read volume 1, but believe me, once you read this volume, you'll want to go back and pick up the first volume, because this was a lot of fun. And it's also the beginning of the EC line, because I think there's 2 more titles next year. One of them is a sci-fi, and I think the other one is a fantasy title, if I'm not mistaken. The book has 136 pages and retails for $19.99. And again, published by Oni Press. Now, if you're interested in purchasing any of the books I talked about, check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And those were my top 5 spooky releases, horror releases for the month of October of 2025. Let me know what you picked up, what you thought was just amazing, if you're into horror, of course. And not even like pure horror. It doesn't have to be body horror, psychological horror. It could be whatever you like, whether it's supernatural or whatever kind of horror that spooks you out. That's what I want to know. Leave those comments down below and let me know if you picked up any of these and what you thought about these particular releases. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.